Kayla.
Hi, I'm Becky.
And we are here for our weekly wine. What's the wine this week?
Well, this is a very special wine. As I told you, I have a special wine club called Scout Circle. And this is a Zinfandel by Fieldhouse 301, which is another one of our clean wineries. And by that we mean that they do not use pesticides, and it has to be a clean crafted wine, meaning it doesn't add sugars and dyes and anything like that. It's very authentic, which means you're getting the authentic flavor of the grape itself. And this particular winery is in Hillsburg, California. And I've not tried this. It's, like I said, it's a new wine. It just came in. Smells.
I have no sense of smell this week.
Uh-oh.
We went to a football game out in the cold yesterday, so my nose is just a little.
But we had a lot of fun.
It was. It's great. Oh, that's very rich. It's sweeter than I expected.
It really is sweeter. I expected it to be drier, but I guess most Zinfandels are sweeter. Are sweeter wines. But it's that is a deep, bold taste.
Yeah.
Kind of peppery almost. Oh yeah, that's really good. Reading about it, it really would pair well with things like, barbecue, and you talked about going to the ball game, tailgating, things like that. That would be perfect for that. Anything that's a spicy food, great charcuterie board with olives and
like
spicy
smoked cheeses,
spicy nuts, things like that. But again, you can't go to the Scout and Cellar page, and find this, because it is exclusive to the Scout Circle. So that's what's great about it, is you get some really wonderful wines, and you get them at a discounted price as well, and you get the free shipping and things like that when you belong to the Scout Circle. So I would say, Christmas is coming up. If you have a wine lover, we have wonderful gift sets. Just go to the link in our underneath and find it and see. And if you have any questions, just message me. I'll be happy to help you out there.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I would definitely say, if you like sweet reds, this is probably the best sweet red I've ever had, because it's not too sweet.
Right. That's it. It's not real sweet. I used to only like dessert wines that were really sweet.
I remember.
But my palate has changed, and now I tend to go toward the more dry wines. But this is really good. I do like this. So, yeah, let us know what you think. Okay, now I was supposed to review this week, but did not get my book finished between ballet and piano, and getting a pilgrim outfit together. And I also read to my granddaughter's class this week. That was a lot of fun. I love reading to kindergartners. They're really sweet. But doing all of those things and getting ready, prepping for Thanksgiving this week. Not a lot of time. Oh, and working on a quilt challenge. Trying to get finished.
Yes. Every time I come over, you're working on a quilt.
Yeah, I'll share my quilt challenge behind us. But I'll share that with y'all at some point. Okay?
Okay. Awesome. So, we're going to do something a little bit different today. The book, It Begins With Us by Colleen Hoover, has just come out. And not too long ago, I read the first book, It Ends With Us. I reviewed it on the blog, so you can see my spoiler-free review there. Today's video are for the people that maybe you read It Ends With Us a while back. You need a refresher on it before you read It Begins With Us. I'm also going to give my opinion, and I am going to start out by giving a spoiler-free summary. And I will let you know when the spoilers start if you're just curious about the book itself. So, It Ends With Us. The main character is named Lily, and she meets this guy named Ryle Kincaid. And Ryle is a surgeon and he's brilliant, and he's beautiful, and he seems really nice. But when they bump into her ex-boyfriend Atlas, and yes, that's apparently his real name, he gets jealous, and Ryle starts to show some less appealing characteristics. Eventually, the relationship does turn abusive, which is what the book is about, and it's kind of what made the book famous, is that this already very popular writer decided to take on this very taboo topic. The book goes back and forth between Lily's diary entries from when she was a young girl, dating Atlas, getting to know Atlas, you know, young high school love, and the modern times with Ryle. And you find out that when Lily was young, her father was also physically abusive to her mother. And Atlas was there kind of during the climax of all those events. So Atlas is also a very interesting character. When they were teenagers, he was squatting in the abandoned house next to her. He was homeless. His parents had abandoned him. After giving him the name Atlas, they had the nerve to abandon him. And they have this cute, sweet romance. He is a good guy. He is the example of what a good guy should be. And we get this back and forth between childhood to the present and how she's going to deal with being in a very similar situation to that of her mother. So there is your spoiler-free summary. We've got two guys, love triangle, and some abuse, so trigger warning for that. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about, before I really go into spoiling it, I'm going to try to explain my rating for this book, because I rated this 3.5 out of 5 stars. And guys, everybody loved this book, like loved it. Everybody else really, really like high ratings everywhere else. So I want to explain my rating because it's not really a popular one. But here's the thing. If you were to ask me, Kayla, was this book well written? The English major in me, the writer in me would say no. And it's not that it's bad. It's just an adult book, but it's written in a very juvenile way. Now, since I wrote my review, and this is one thing I do kind of like, I would give it a higher rating today, because since I wrote my review, I read her novel Verity, and her usual writing style is much more mature. So I think this was actually a very intentional choice by the author. I think that she was intentionally writing it in a more juvenile way, I would call it, but others might call it just a more accessible way, so that any reader could pick up this book, because it is a subject that any reader should know about. The fact that abuse that's featured in this book is so taboo in our culture means that it's something that keeps happening. Right. And the more we talk about it, the more we address it, the more people who are in these situations realize, oh, wait, this isn't normal. Because you've got to think from Lily's perspective, and you do see this from Lily's perspective. Colleen Hoover does a great job of this, of making her a character who you can connect with, and you understand why she makes the decisions. And throughout most of the novel, it helps you see from that perspective. And I think people who haven't been in that situation, it's very easy for us to be like, why didn't she just leave? Like, just leave him. He's a jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's never that simple.
Right.
So I would up my rating is what I'm saying there. The only reason it wouldn't be a full 5 stars for me, though, is because of the ending. And yes, I'm about to spoil it, guys. So click to the end if you don't want this to be spoiled. In the end, Lily ends up pregnant with Ryle's baby. They get married after he hits her the first time. They get married. It makes sense in the book. It does. But they get married. She throws her down the stairs and she eventually like leaves by hiding at Atlas's place. And she finds out she's pregnant. She has a baby girl, and in the end there's this moment that like the first time I read it I was like, oh, that's really sweet, where Ryle is in the room with her after she's had the baby. She hands him the baby, and then she says, if our daughter was ever in a relationship where a man hit her and threw her down the stairs, what would you tell her to do? And of course he starts crying, realizes the error of his ways, and he's like, I would tell her to leave him. I wouldn't want her to stay with him. So they break up, and he's very understanding about it. It's a very sweet, very pretty moment. But I've not been in a situation like this myself, but I know women who have. And unfortunately, and I also know men who have, and unfortunately, it is very rare that the abuser admits wrong.
Right.
And
True.
I just find that whole part of the book unbelievable.
True.
Unrealistic. I also find it unrealistic that then she's like, we're going to divorce, but you can have joint custody. We're going to have joint custody of our baby girl. And I'm like,
no.
I don't think that's wise. And Colleen Hoover talks about in her author's note how her mom was in a very similar situation with her dad, and her dad never hit her but was abusive towards her mom. So I feel like a lot of this was a very personal story for her, and maybe that is how it worked with her. And if so, then great. I'm glad her dad was able to get help. But
realistically, that's not often what happens.
Most of the time, if he's hitting you, you don't want to then leave him alone with your child.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my issue with the end of it. Now, in the sequel, which you're all caught up on, in the sequel, Atlas is back. Lily is single. She shares custody of her baby with Ryle. So the drama there, and I haven't finished that book yet, but the drama there focuses on what happens after. Going back to Atlas, how Ryle reacts. I can't imagine that he reacts well. And I feel like I've caught you up and reminded you of what went on. So if you're ready to go pick up It Begins With Us, it is available, and we're going to leave the link to the Amazon page in the information.
All right.
So you also had a book you wanted to talk about.
Well, just to mention, this is, I have a couple of books going at the moment. Actually, I have 3 books going at the moment, which is probably another reason I haven't finished either one of them, but this next week I'm hoping to do that. But Joanne DeMaio is one of my favorite authors. This is a particular series called the Seaside Saga, and she writes it like a television series, and each book is what's going on in the lives of this group of friends that live in Stony Point, which is actually based on a real life area called Point of Woods in Connecticut. And it's just it's a great series. It's an easy read. I feel like I know these people. I feel like they're my friends, and just because she's like on book number 17.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're talking hundreds and hundreds of fabulous thousands of pages if you need a new author and you like a series. But there's a cliffhanger at every end of every book, because as I said, it's just like a television series. You know, you end it here and then it comes out. And she's a very prolific writer, and this year we have had 3 different books, which is really unheard of in, you know, for an author to be able to put out that many books.
Unless you're James Patterson.
Well, unless you're James Patterson or Joanne DeMaio, because she does it.
And she writes like without he always has someone writing with him.
Oh no, this is just her.
She does
and this is a mother-daughter thing. Her daughter's her publicist and everything. She is independently published. Mm-hmm. There's not a publishing house behind her, and I think she is amazing. And like I said, I've read all of her books. I've read most of them twice, if not 3 times,
I feel
because
like you reread one every time we go to the beach.
oh, I do, and I love it because it's like, oh, I want to go back and read this. But anyway, this is a great series, and so just something that I'll be talking about. Hope maybe next week, but
Okay.
I love it. So great Christmas gifts for people out there that are book readers.
Yes, and speaking of next week, we will be back Sunday, but since we won't see you in the meantime,
right.
we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate that, enjoy that with your family, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yes. So
All right.
happy Thanksgiving.